team played hard on both ends. You know, it was a game where my concern was I knew they were going to zone us a lot, of us settling for shots, but luckily we had a lot of players come off the bench who were ready to go. And I think this game is definitive of, you know, when your name is called, when your number is called, you have to be ready. And I think our bench did that today.
Coach, in that first half, it was kind of a sluggish first half offensively. 43 points in that second half. What was the biggest flip of the switch that you saw?
You know, we went from trading baskets to getting stops, and I think that was the biggest thing because we were able to play in transition, and I think that's where we're really, really good. You know, I think once we got used to the zone, we were able to find some gaps and things like that, and again, we had some players knock down shots.
One of those players that came off the bench that had like an enormous impact on the game was Liz Martino. She played like 13 to 14 minutes and had 15 points. What do you have to say specifically about her performance? Because she had so few minutes, but she was like the leading scorer for teams.
Well, as everybody knows, Liz was a kind of a mid-year addition for us. We were in a situation that, you know, we needed people on the team, and I wanted to bring somebody in here that I felt like could make an impact and not just be a practice player. You know, Liz hasn't played up to this point, but I've been continuing to talk to her about, you know, when it's time, it's time. Today happened to be time, and she's been, I can respect her because she prepares in practice. She may not get a lot of reps, but she's very, very smart. And so, again, when her number was called, she was ready to go, and she took efficient, really, really good shots.
Tamaya Smith had a really big impact on the game. How would you assess her performance today?
Tamaya, you know, she's a freshman, and the same thing I tell her, you know, you may not get a lot of reps, but you have to be ready when your number is called. I thought she was just aggressive in that zone, rebounding. I think she had 9 rebounds, 4 of them were offensive. Tamaya is somebody who, you know, when we look up 3 years from now, you know, she may have more accolades and be a little bit more productive than Elijah Smith was at the same time. She has that potential, so we're going to continue to push her and not let her get comfortable. But again, I think she was ready to go off the bench.
Let's talk about Haven. 13 points, 9 assists. Was the plan to have Haven step up as a leader for the team during this game?
You know, I think a lot of that had to do with the zone. They played zone just about 40 minutes. So, you know, when you're a point guard, she was able to, again, get used to the zone in the first quarter, see kind of our gaps, and then she was able to just find people out of it.
A problem that the Tigers have been having this season just about is just a lack of consistency on both sides of the court. Today's game we saw different, especially coming down in the fourth quarter. What do you have to say about, like, what do you think it was about today's game that just kept the consistency flowing?
You know, we've been harping on that. That's been kind of the word of the week. The word of the weekend is just consistency. The players added control to that. Being able to control what we can control, but once we figure that out, we have to be consistent with it. And it's not just playing, it's consistent attitudes, consistent approaches, consistent habits. I feel like me and my staff have been all season just building habits and habit building. And I think, you know, once we get those habits down and continue that every day, that's where we'll start seeing the consistency, and hopefully today was a start.
Hey, Coach, one last question. It's kind of it's a food question. Do you have a post-game, like, food place that you go to after games here?
No, because we're very, very fortunate to have food after the games for us. But I can say I'm a normal, like, Mulan, Hop Dottie's type of girl, mainly because it's close to my house and easy. But I don't necessarily have a specific